Becky from the Delafield Quilt Company, and today is part 2 of a 3-part series of log cabin blocks. The block for today is the Curvy log cabin block. And this block is made with pieces that are cut to fit the right size. A little bit different than last week's tutorial, which was cut as you go. This one we're going to cut all the pieces in advance so that we can quickly sew it together. The fabric used in this block today is heirloom from Ruby Star Society fabrics. Okay, to make our curvy log cabin, we're going to need some lights and dark fabrics. I'm going to put the dark ones aside for now, and I'm going to cut the white ones first. I'm just using some fat quarters I had from a previous project. So I'm going to cut these so they're cut on the long side, the 21-inch side. First I'm going to clean off one of the sides just to make sure that I'm cutting from a nice clean edge. And then I'm going to cut these strips 1 1/2 inch thick. What makes the curvy log cabin look a little curvy is one of the sides has the narrower strips, which is, in this case, is going to be the lighter fabric, and then the darker side is going to have thicker strips, and it just naturally creates this curve. So I'm actually going to cut 3 of these strips because I'm going to make 4 different blocks, and I think I'm going to need 3 to cut all the pieces. And now I'm going to subcut each of these sections into what I need to create 4 of the blocks. And the block's finished size is going to be 10 inches. So the first I'm going to need is a total of 4 10.5-inch strips. And I'm going to cut one section of 10.5 inches. Okay, then I'm going to need 9.5 inches. I'm going to need 4 of them. Okay, set those aside. All right, then we need 4 8 inches. Set those aside. And then I'm going to need 4 7-inch ones. And then 4 5.5 inches. Then I'm going to need 4 4.5-inch ones, 4 3-inch ones, and 4 2-inch ones. Now I did cut this extra row here. I'm going to just keep this aside. I think I cut a little bit more than I needed, but I might pull from that later just to get a little more variety. Okay, for our dark fabric, I want to do a variety of blues and purples. So I'm just going to go ahead and pick the ones that I want. And I'm going to stack them and whack them. Again, I'm going to go the length of the fat quarter, so the 21 inches. I'm just going to clean my edge off first, and then I'm going to cut the next set of strips. So for the dark fabric, the width of the strips needs to be 2 inches wide. All right, I'm going to cut 9.5 inches for this first size, and I'm going to need 4 total. I stacked 4, so once I do my one cut, I should have the ones that I need. Okay, my next largest one is going to be 8 inches. And I'm going to need 4 of those. Since I have 4 stacked again, just one cut. And I'm going to cut this one 7 inches. Set that guy aside. And then I'm going to need 5.5 inches. Set that aside. And then 4.5 inches. And 3 inches. So this one's going to be 2 inches by 2 inches, and this is going to be the center square of your curved log cabin. Okay, so I have all the pieces cut. I'm just going to lay them out in order of size. Okay, all my pieces are cut and they're laid out in the order that I'm going to sew them. So now the fun part, the sewing. I'm just going to make sure as I pick my pieces up that I kind of vary a little bit what order I take them in. This first one, I'm going to take my 2-inch square and the 2-inch by 1.5-inch piece of white. They should fit perfectly, and I'm going to sew a 1/4-inch seam. And I'm going to go ahead and sew all 4 at the same time, so then I'm just going to grab my next set and just repeat that process. Okay, once you have your pieces sewn, then we're going to press the seams to one side. We're going to press it towards the strip, so away from the center. Okay, now we're ready for the next white strip. So I'm going to just repeat this process, and I'm going to sew it so the white is towards the left, and I'm going to sew this on the bottom. And I'm going to do that for all 4 pieces at once. Okay, again we're going to press the seams to one side, and we're going to press it towards the strip, so away from the center. Okay, now we're ready for our first round of the dark strips. So when I'm doing this, I'm just going to choose a little bit of a contrasting color. I think I'll go with purple, light purple on this one. And then we're going to sew it to the top of this set. So whatever your last piece you left off on, you're essentially going to sew right next to that with this next strip. Again, just like before, we're going to press the seam to the side. Okay, now we're ready to move on to the next dark strip, and we're just going to sew that in that same fashion of the last finished strip. It goes to the right of that. Okay, once again, I'm going to press the seams to the side, away from the center. So now that we have our first set of lights and our first set of darks, we're just going to continue this process. We're going to do 2 more lights, then 2 more darks, 2 more lights, then 2 more darks, building one log on top of another. Again, you're going to start with the last sewn side, and you're going to sew right next to that. As your strips get a little longer, you may want to put a little pin in there as well. And now we have a finished block. We actually have 4 finished blocks of the Curvy log cabin. You can kind of see now how that curve starts with the different size light strips than dark strips. So I hope you enjoyed this tutorial today. If you haven't seen our other one on the basic log cabin, that was the previous week. And next week we're going to feature one more log cabin, and that's going to be courthouse steps. So make sure you subscribe to our channel so you don't miss out on that one. Thank you so much for joining us today. I hope you have a great day.